Hey everyone, welcome back. This is part of my series where I steal ideas from software system design and shrink them down to one person, my brain. In the last video, I discussed about CAP theorem, how we need to choose availability over consistency in certain parts, in certain aspects of our life. We discussed how complex systems decide between being perfect and being available, and how sometimes showing up with small something today is better than being perfect tomorrow. Today, I want to dig deep into another concept in system design. What do you do when the world throws more requests at you than you can handle? How do real complex systems handle this kind of problems? And how we can bring it into our lives. So basically, how to say no to new requests that come in without being apologetic, emotional, and follow the footsteps of how resilient systems are built and how resilient systems handle no. Let's discuss a little bit about the psychology of no. Let's be honest, for a lot of us, saying no is difficult. If you're high on agreeableness, it's an even bigger problem. It feels like you're being confrontational. Your nervous system treats it like it's a danger. On some primal level, our brain probably thinks that saying no means you're being excluded from the group. So we say yes as a defense mechanism to be included and try not to be selfish. And I'm not saying that as a good thing. It's just the way it is. So a life without no's can soon lead to chaos. It's like being a bakery and accepting 500 orders at once, but you just have one oven. So you'll basically be disappointing everyone else, including yourself. This kind of overload happens in software all the time. So software systems are built to handle this in an effective way. Think about a ticketing site. Say there's a match between India and Pakistan that's going on, and you are booking tickets for it. And the tickets open at 10 a.m. today. Everybody is going to click buy. If the system tries to handle all these requests at once, it's going to crash and nobody's going to get the tickets. I think that's what happened in the recent Coldplay concert booking. So it's going to have a catastrophic collapse. So that's why systems that are resilient put in a bouncer near the gate. It acts as a rate limiter. It only lets in few requests at a time so that the system can actually serve whatever requests it gets perfectly and send a graceful no to the rest of the requests. So that might be where you see a 429 too many requests error or something on your screen. That's the rate limiter in action. So the system turns new requests down in order to stay alive and serve the existing requests instead of trying to accept everything at once. Then we will discuss about a concept called circuit breakers. Imagine that you run a website and it has a bunch of services. It validates the cart, it calculates the discount, it checks the inventory, and then it goes to the payment system where it does the payment. So in order to process your order, it has to follow this series of steps. But for some reason that day, the payment service might be down. And you know that it's down, and the last few orders have failed because the payment service has been down. When this happens, say there are a bunch of 1,000 requests that come in, we still need to do the processing of the order, like validation of the cart, calculation of the discount and stuff. So, and it'll fail at the payment. So if we keep hammering the system, we are unnecessarily consuming resources knowing that it's going to fail at the end. This is where a circuit breaker is built into the system as a fuse. So if we have a configured amount of requests that fail, the circuit opens and no more new requests are allowed. So this way, you don't fail just at the last step. You have noticed that a few requests have been failing and you stop the process for all new requests. This way, you're not wasting resources processing requests that you know are going to fail in the future. And then later, we test with a few sample requests if it's going to pass. If it still fails, we wait till the system becomes stable. If not, if the payment service is up and the new requests are successful, then we close the circuit and let all new requests come in. So we're just saving the system from doing unwanted processing when we are guaranteed that it's going to fail at the end. This concept is called failing fast to keep the system fail safe. Now let's get back to the bakery example. One oven, for example, can bake up to 10 cakes, but if 500 requests come in, that's going to be a disaster. If you keep accepting orders, everybody's going to have to wait. So it's better to inform the customers that we are full for today. We'll take up new orders tomorrow. That is rate limiting. But if the oven itself breaks, we don't keep stuffing the oven with dough. We know it's broken. So we can stop all new orders and get the oven fixed before any new orders come in. Instead of making the customers wait and make them unhappy later, it's better to be upfront and say the system has stopped all new requests. That's the circuit breaker in action. Let's see a better human example. So this is how I've started experimenting on myself. Every new request like a meeting request or a favor or an ad hoc task that comes in to me will go through a small intake form that I've made for myself. I ask myself, what exactly is this ask about? How long will this take? If I fit this into my schedule, does it actually fit what I've already committed to do this week? I drop these and a lot more in the questionnaire into ChatGPT and let it do the analysis of whether I should accept this task or not. If it fits and I have time, including my commitments, then I accept it. If it does not align, I send a polite message declining the request that I'm too occupied this week. Let's bring it up next week. You can just offer the next free slot. This actually offloads a lot of your processing power, your willpower into deciding on what to do next. You outsource the brain power to ChatGPT, and then your willpower can go into just clicking send to whoever has made the request. So you're actually saving a lot of energy here. You can just send a mail saying, I'd love to help, but I'm fully booked this week and I don't want to rush it. It will probably lose quality. The earliest I can give my proper focus to this task is next Tuesday. If you need something sooner, I can try to fit in a smaller version, a degraded version of what you want, if that is okay with you. So there is no guilt trip, there's no apology for existing. You're just setting professional boundaries, and that is baked into the system. So you don't have to think about it before sending it. You're just telling the truth. For the fuse that we discussed in the concept of circuit breakers, sometimes the failure isn't outside. I am the system and something could be failing within me. You know that feeling when 2 tasks slip behind, 3 tasks slip behind, you miss a deadline and things cascade. You deliver something half-baked that you're not happy with, and you can predict that the third thing is going to fail for sure. That's you seeing that the system is collapsing. In software systems, we would have configured a limit for the amount of failures it can handle until it shuts down gracefully. This is when the fuse trips and this is when the circuit breaker trips and no new requests are allowed. For me, the rule is same. When I failed in 2 or more commitments in a row, or I feel that my output has degraded to a quality that I'm not happy with on 1 or more tasks, then I pause. I stop taking in anything new and I will completely focus on stabilizing what is already there and process everything out of the system. Only then I will take in new requests. The request does not have to be something from the client. It could be something trivial that you need to do for today. But the point is to stabilize yourself first and then take up the new task, not cram everything in together. So the rule is finish whatever is running right now, pause any intake, test the system by letting a few more tasks in. If it's still failing, you keep it closed and finish processing what you're doing. And if you're able to finish something meaningful, then you're probably in a mindset where you can take up new requests. That's when you close the circuit again. But most of us are irrational in our thinking. So we keep saying yes until our brain is cramped and we start failing very often. So this way we can implement a fail-fast system to make ourselves fail safe. But here's the tricky part. How do you know when you've failed? Most of us are not computers. We don't have specific definitions. So if I miss one workout, is that a failure? If I slip on 2 deadlines, is that a failure? If I send something sloppy, is that a failure? There is no clear boundary on what a failure is. So defining this becomes very important. In software systems, nothing is left vague. We spell it out. If 5 requests fail, we open the circuit and block new requests. If CPU is over 70%, we create new pods to handle more requests. If a rate limit hits of say 100 requests per second, we probably stop taking new requests. So these are very specific pre-designed clauses that are built into the system. So when we incorporate these ideas, we need a language or a definition for what these failures mean. And when it happens, it's easy to identify them. I'll go into how we can do this in a later video. But remember that this is a very important concept. What a failure even means. You can picture an independent worker. They cap themselves at 3 projects, and that's their, say, oven capacity. Adding a 4th client is going to degrade the performance of everybody. So instead of cramming it in, it's better to send a polite rejection or push it by a few days. That seems reasonable. And try to incorporate rate limiting. So you deliver with honesty and quality to everybody, and don't make false promises. Meanwhile, if you start dropping balls on the existing projects that you have, missing deadlines and giving sloppy deliveries, you can open the circuit, and knowing that you failed 2 times or 3 times in a row, so no new requests come in until you fixed the system and you deliver whatever is already in progress. That's exactly how reliable, resilient systems run, and that's the fuse in action. And if you've ever wondered why some people are calm while you are drowning, it's not that they're superhuman. They have better bouncers at their door, and they understand what a failure means in their system, and they react to it accordingly. So here's the mental map for today. Rate limiters: stop overloading yourself with new requests. Circuit breakers: stop when you notice yourself failing on consecutive tasks. And we understand the importance of definitions and language, and how we can define things in order to understand when something happens. In a bakery, you can add more ovens to handle new cake orders. In software, we can spawn up new pods horizontally to handle more requests, but we only have 1 brain, and we can't spawn 10 brains to handle new requests. So this is why it becomes more critical for us to understand these concepts. This channel is my personal diary right now. I'm testing these ideas on myself and mapping them to the struggles that I see, and I believe this will be helpful for independent workers as well. If you try these, let me know in the comments what's one rate limiting that you would set for yourself, and how you would define failures so you can set circuit breakers for them. I would love to hear about your systems. You can DM me on Instagram or comment on YouTube. We can set aside a time and discuss these things. Next time, I will talk about an architectural pattern called hexagonal architecture, and how we do domain-driven design. While it sounds weird, this is about how we can introduce ports and adapters into our own personal life and projects, and how real software systems use these concepts. So until next time, thank you.